High school football fans, Varsity Media is bringing exciting, exclusive content to you for the 2022 season. Introducing the Varsity Media Pass, available on iOS and Android. Accessible all season long, the Varsity Media Pass features game highlights, weekly podcasts,
a clash of styles, out in Setauket. We love those differing styles, right?
top 10 plays of the week, player interviews, and so much more. Head to varsitymediapass.com to download the app and start enjoying content only Varsity Media can bring.
From Mitchell Athletic Complex in Uniondale, Long Island, the Varsity Media Sports Network presents the New York Catholic High School Football League Senior Bowl as the top graduating seniors from New York City battle those from Long Island. Good evening, everyone. Dylan Butler here with the president of the New York Catholic High School Football League, Chris Hardett. He wears so many hats, and tonight Chris is wearing the commentator's hat, or the headset, I should say, with us. But Chris, certainly, about 10 days ago or so, we crowned champions right here, Championship Saturday, and this is the culmination of this season, and it's been a fantastic season, certainly. And these games are always very, very entertaining. I expect the same here tonight.
You know what? They're a lot of fun for the kids, and really, it's something, a tradition in our league that goes way, way back. And there's a lot of guys that have lifelong friendships from this game, And, I've been involved in this game for 35 years, so it's really special. I think at the beginning of the week, the kids are a little leery about, seeing all the guys on the other team and all that kind of stuff. And then by the time you'll see them out there high-fiving each other and having a great time with each other. And like I said, I've heard stories of guys who have lifelong friendships just from this game. So,
yeah, you've got like Trinity guys and Chaminade guys together. You've got Farrell guys and C guys, and for these for a couple hours here tonight, they become friends. They're no longer rivals, but as you said, those friendships among those guys, all wearing those different helmets, it does last for a lifetime. So the Long Island team, it should be noted here, not just the Long Island schools, right? You add in Queens to that equation. So the Christ the Kings, Holy Cross, St. Francis Prep, all part of that mix. Really kind of, it's a Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island diocesan, if you want to call it, and then the Archdiocesan, which includes, of course, the Bronx and Westchester, as well as Staten Island.
Yep, it's a split. We basically have 22 schools in our league, so we kind of try to make it, even it up as best we can. Years ago, before all the Staten Island schools came into the league, it's funny, your alma mater, St. Francis Prep and Holy Cross, every other year they would jump to one side of the of the bridge, as they say, So, we try to do that, and it always makes for it even. There's plenty of talent out there on both sides, so it always makes for a good game.
Speaking about that talent, let's take a look at some of those players first for the visitors on the scoreboard, at least, right, from New York City, and some tremendous players. We'll show you some of those guys now. You see, of course, the quarterback at Moore Catholic, John Mikowski. What a season he had for the Mavericks, 2,000 passing yards, over 1,000 yards rushing as well. Jabril Carter, a guy from Mount St. Michael who impacts the game in so many ways. You see all the guys, too, from Fordham Prep and Stepanak and Xavier. A loaded roster for New York City. That's only part of it. We'll show you the next group now from New York City. There you see it. A lot of high-end guys. Khalil Adegoke, part of that Fordham Prep team, and of course Shane Zolotovsky. Shane was huge here on Championship Saturday, helping lead Xavier to that AA2 championship. And the last grouping here, it's a big New York City roster this year. And again, you see so many, pretty much every school represented in the New York City side. Dan Licata, that offensive lineman, part of that rebuild at St. Peter's with their head coach, Mark DeCristoforo, who is the head coach here tonight for New York City. And there's the last group of New York City players. Shane DeLisi, what a impact he's made. He kicked that overtime winning field goal for Moore Catholic to beat Monsignor Farrell for the first time in their program's history. So those are the New York City guys, and we'll show you now the roster for Long Island, and an asterisk or an important note to make, and it's a weird sort of weather-related quirk in this schedule. These St. Anthony's guys that we'll show you here, these are the quarterbacks. They're all actually right now playing up in Buffalo. Usually that game is on the weekend, which would allow them to potentially participate in this game, but they are not. They're competing for their first ever New York State championship game and actually have a 1-point lead late in that one at St. Francis. So those are the quarterbacks we're going to see here for Long Island. We'll show you some of the receivers and the running backs as well. Elijah Alvarez, of course, St. John the Baptist, and Mason Dietrich for Chaminade just recently committed to Fordham. Congratulations to Mason, and you see a lot of those other guys as well. Kyle Russo for Holy Cross, part of that list. And there's your defensive side of the football for Long Island. Those are some of your defensive linemen, your linebackers as well. And Evan Glusick, you know him pretty well. It's going to be a tough day for the kickers, I'll tell you that. It's a blustery wind here at Mitchell Athletic Complex, so it's going to be an interesting one. The blue side, that's the guys from Long Island, and there's the opening kickoff. And look at this return. This one can go to the house, Chris.
Yes.
Opening kickoff, touchdown Long Island. Did we get the number of that truck?
Very quick.
Dre Curtin, you know him well. And listen, he's so good every time he touches the ball. Look at this return again, Chris.
Wow. Yeah, Andre, I've seen this the last 2 years. Andre actually got hurt in his junior year. He missed the whole second half of his junior year, and this year he was healthy all year and had a great year for us. And it's really great to see him start off the game that way. Tremendous.
Wow, an incredible start for the Long Island side with Dre Curtin returning it to the house. And he was on this field again 10 days ago, part of that great Titans team that won a second consecutive Catholic championship, although different divisions, of course. They won AA2 last year, beating St. John the Baptist, and this year beating Moore Catholic in the AA1. So Glusick is on for the point after attempt. Not allowed to rush the kicker in this game, so you just got a bunch of guys jumping up and down looking to maybe distract him, but that's not going to happen with Evan, that is for sure. We've learned that. And we heard from Kamal Roy this year about Glusick saying he might be the most improved guy this year. And you see this guy closely, the impact that he made on the football game, both in terms of his ability to kick field goals, also punt the football and the kickoffs as well. It's sometimes an underrated part of this game, but it's so critical.
Well, Evan made a real commitment to football. He was a soccer player for us for his first 3 years, and this year he really made a commitment during the off season to go all in on football. And he's gotten some looks. So we'll see what happens. I know Fordham University was in to take a look at him. So I think he's gonna have a really good college career.
And that's an incredible story, right? That's a testament there too. If you are a soccer player or any other sport, I mean, he's not one of those lifelong kickers, right? Like he just picked up the sport, and look at this, he's dedicated himself, and he'll likely get himself a scholarship to college out of it.
Yep.
So Glusick now to kick off, booms one. It's a pretty good one. It'll be fielded at about the 5-yard line as a huge hit on specials. Listen, you always kind of wonder, right? Like, where are these guys in terms of how they want to compete? But there is no doubt Patrick Maloney wants to bring it.
Yep.
Out of St. John the Baptist. You like this, right? This tells you right here how invested he is into this game.
Like I said, once the ball is snapped, it's a football game for these guys, and it's always fun to watch how competitive it gets for them, you know.
Here's some more of those Long Island guys on defense, the D-backs and the D-ends. Trey Curtin didn't allow us to show these guys. He was in there running for a touchdown before we can complete our graphic of all the players involved in this game. So it's New York City ball at their own 15-yard line. Handoff up the middle. Nice run. Fumble, though, and Long Island has recovered.
Long Island boys off to a really quick start here.
And guess what? It's another Baptist guy, Sean Dennehy. So Maloney with the hit on specials, and then Dennehy recovers this fumble. Right there. And it's, you know what? It was another hit, too, by Eli Alvarez. Man, the Cougars all over it so far early on. So terrific field position now. Chris, for the Long Island guys, they take over after New York City ran one play from scrimmage at the city 28-yard line.
Looks like an all Kellenberg backfield here.
Quick step, sidearm, looking that side end zone. That's incomplete. Part of that.
Island pass broken up by number 29, Justin Guzman.
I was going to say, I thought it was Page at QB. We were told a number change where he'd be wearing 13, but it looked like that was 11. You always look at the helmet, I feel like, in these situations, right?
That's Devin Page. I got to get on these coaches, Dylan. They were told not to change numbers.
Well, I thought it was all good because they gave us the change. And then look at the physicality there by Page. We know he's going to UPenn on the next level. Lowers the shoulder. And you like that, I think, out of a QB like Page, right? Where he's going to bring that physicality. He's not the guy to slide or try to juke it out of bounds. He's lowering the shoulder and getting the yards that he needs.
We played him this year, and he's a tough kid and a really good football player. I think Penn's getting a really great player right there.
Yeah, terrific completion rate as well, and he threw a lot of passes this year. 65% of his passes, he threw 227 on the year were complete. Page back to pass, fires it over the middle. That is complete at about the 16-yard line.
That's Gavin Creo from Chaminade. He's another guy that we played this year, and he made some great plays against us and made some great plays in the all season for Chaminade. He's a tremendous player.
Yeah, Creo, 58 receptions for 701 yards. Not the biggest guy, right? 5'8", 175 out of Rockville Center, that Richmond lacrosse commit. So he was part of that Chaminade team that marched their way to the semifinals. What a game they had in the quarters where they won at the buzzer, beating Kellenberg in that rivalry game. Handoff up the middle. This will be a first down, a little more. Diving towards the end zone. Did he get in? He did not. Stopped at about the 1 yard line. Quality run there, but by Nakai Malpin out of Holy Cross. Malpin on the year, 83 carries, 418 yards, 2 touchdowns. Got some good blocking from those big dudes up front.
You know, it's interesting, Dylan. You see guys from all different divisions all on the same team, right? So you see guys that played AAA football, guys that played AA1 football, guys that played AA2 football, all together, and you see the talent level is not really that much different.
Handoff looks like it's Malpin again. Goes to that right side, and he gets in the end zone. So Nakai Malpin, the senior out of Hempstead at Holy Cross, he extends Long Island's lead. See Malpin there getting in. 13-0 with the PAT pending. We have a score update from up in snowy Buffalo. It looks like St. Anthony's is, if it's correct there, the score strip 19 seconds away from winning their first Catholic state championship.
You know what, Dylan? That was a game they were down 20-0 at halftime. So 20 degree Buffalo right now.
So you mentioned the Kellenberg guys, Chris, and let's meet one of them here. Part of this game, Mike McQuaid, you see here from Belrose Village. You see those numbers this year. We asked him his favorite pizzeria, Go Do Slice. He's a Vaccaro's well done plain. I like that, man. It's not like, I like the well done slice. We'll talk more about pizza later on. Favorite athlete, Ed Reed. Favorite movie or TV show, how do you go wrong with Rudy, right? So McQuaid, man, he's checks all the boxes there with his answers. And we'll have a few of these, too, that we'll roll out during the game with guys who are competing in this game. And also, it's a good segment because, listen, if you're in that area, you know where to go, right? And how about another big special teams play by Dennehy?
So that's two kickoffs, 2 plays by Dennehy.
Yeah, Sean Keegan out of Monsignor Farrell with the return, and then Dennehy just blows him up. So a rough start for the boys from New York City. Dre Curtin returned the opening kickoff for a touchdown, and then a fumble on their first play after a big Dennehy hit. And the Long Island crew scores, and it's 14-0 early on here in the first quarter. That's Mikowski at QB, hands off, and a gain of about 4, it looks like, on that play.
John Mikowski is one heck of a football player. He's going to Sacred Heart, and he's a tremendous athlete and a really, really good football player.
And it is a final, it looks like, now out of Buffalo. St. Anthony's has indeed come back. They scored 27 unanswered points to win the Catholic State Championship game. Congratulations to the Friars on something that they've never done before. It's not because they're not a good football team. It's just that the year after they won their last championship is when you guys and the guys at Buffalo got together, and I think it's a fantastic idea to bring the two different Catholic sections together, Monsignor Martin up there in Buffalo, and here the New York City Catholic High School Football League, and you play for a state championship.
You know what, Dylan? That was a long time coming. We had a lot of conversations about that, and finally came to fruition. It's been tremendous for our league.
Mikowski off the hands of the intended target. You mentioned Mikowski, another guy too, right? He's a Sacred Heart commit. Had a lot of other offers as well. Bowling Green, Austin P, Fordham, LIU, Central Connecticut, Duquesne, St. Francis. Wanted the possibility of playing right away or getting enough playing time early on. And that's something too that you respect out of a guy, right? Maybe he doesn't go to the biggest name, but he goes to the right fit.
Right. That's very important, and you know, it's almost a commercial for some of those, you know, the 1AA schools that to have a kid like this commit to them.
2nd and 3 from the 24-yard line. Handoff, and the Long Island defense swarming there. So the hit there by Nick Frederick, number 52 out of Holy Cross. 6'1", 220 on the defensive line.
Tackled by number 52, Nicholas Frederick of Holy Cross.
So a 3rd and 3, which will mean a punting situation here for New York City. And if we've seen any, or we know anything from early on, as it looks like this is Mark Theriault from Kennedy Catholic. What a great year he had punting the football as well. 725 yards on his 20 punts. His long this year is 61. Placed 4 inside the 20.
And Coach DeSone doesn't like to punt a lot.
Yeah. This one gets it up. It takes a bounce at about the 40 and will go out of bounds. So Long Island will make their way onto the field. trying to extend their lead.
I've seen so many of these games in the past, Dylan, where it starts out one way and then all of a sudden you'll see a whole change here in the direction of the game. So this game's far from over.
You mentioned the Baptist guys, and another guy who's what a terrific year he had, of course, is this guy right here, Eli Alvarez out of Patchogue. Jabril Peppers, he's a guy that I got to cover a little bit here in my earlier days of doing this broadcasting thing. Pre-game meal, I like it, man. He makes sure he's not going to cramp up, right? He's got the cereal and bananas. Favorite movie, goes a little bit old school, Scarface. I like that from a younger guy, bringing in the old school, the classics, if you will, as it's Malpin again turning and spinning. But, yeah, how about that? He was the backup a year ago to Mark Anthony Scott, and Scott went up to Buffalo, and then Eli Alvarez took over that role and ran for over 1,000 yards, 18 touchdowns or 16 touchdowns on the year as well, and did a fantastic job defensively as well. Switching a little bit, he used to be that downhill linebacker. He got switched to play safety and ended up being one of the better corner guys in that double A1. 2nd and 11. A little bouncer there as a new quarterback in is Matt Diegues, who will play baseball up at Fordham. So perhaps Diegues and Dante Torres will get to know each other pretty well, right? It's funny that Coffee Field, because the baseball team and the football team actually kind of share the same field, right? The outfield is you could hit home runs into the bleachers there of the football field.
They put up the temporary fence.
Yeah.
I like seeing the guys that are playing multiple sports that still want to come out here and play a last high school football game. It's really a tribute to them that they really want to come out and give this one last shot to play a high school football game.
Yeah, that's, competitive wise, this is it for them. They played their last game for their high school, and now their chance to represent.
There's a lot of guys. We talk all about we talk about the college bound players, but there's a lot of guys out here on this field right here. This is the last time they're going to put a helmet and shoulder pads on. It's a little different than different sports. Basketball and baseball. These guys go on, and then when they're in college, they do things. There's no such thing as pickup football. Other than playing some flag football and things like that. But this is the last time these guys will put a helmet on.
So Diegues got out to the 42-yard line, but it'll be a 4th and 5. So it looks like Long Island here will look to punt the football. I think it's Glusick doing it there as well, right?
Yep, I'm pretty sure he's the only kicker out there.
Great hang time there on that one. It's fielded. I think a fair catch was called there, so no return for New York City, as they'll look to try to push their offense now. And speaking of the New York City team, as we continue this segment here of getting to know, and how about number 50, Justin Roberts on the offensive line. Favorite Thanksgiving food, Rasta pasta. I asked him about that. I'm like, what is Rasta pasta, right? He says you got some pasta in there. You bring in some shrimp, some chicken, a little flavor.
I got to try that. I never heard of that.
That's what I said to him. He's like, come on over. Favorite movie, any Fast and Furious, and the first Call of Duty is Justin Roberts' favorite video game. And what a year the Mount had this year. And, it's funny because you've got different levels, Chris, I feel like, of teams in the Catholic Football League. You've got those upper echelon teams who just want to kind of stay and obviously compete for the AAA championship year in and year out. St. Anthony's, Iona, Stepinac, those kind of teams. And you got teams at different levels and for different competitive levels looking to push, right, and get back up. And Mount is one of those teams as well, losing in a tight AA2 championship game this year. And Mario Valentini, his second year this year in the spread, right, changed things up. That traditional option for forever under Mario when they were winning AAA championships, switched it to the spread. And, they've got aspirations of getting up that ladder as well. Nice run here as Looked like that was Matthew Wiseman out of St. Joe's by the Sea, the QB, and he'll get a first down. This is a quality run here by the 6'4", 185-pound senior out of Staten Island.
Yeah, he's a good player, very good player.
I don't like the way he's holding the ball, though. Got to tuck it under.
Watching Josh Allen too.
So are you.
But no, talking about so schools in our league like Mount St. Michael, it's a storied program in our league, and AAA champions multiple times under Coach Valentini, and it's high school football. It's high school, and you're not going to have the same teams every year, same caliber of kids come in every year, and that's what like me and you have talked about so many times. The beauty of our league is, in my opinion, is the flexibility that we have and the ability to have teams, not get buried, where they can't be successful, And like I tell all our coaches and our administrators, we're not trying to place teams where they can win championships. We're trying to place teams where they can compete, and that's what's really important to us, And to see some way other schools and the way other leagues do it based on strictly by population of the school, or it buries some programs, and we just don't feel that's the right way to do it. And we're really happy about the way we do it. And we take some shots from the media sometimes, and people, why is this team here, and why is certain teams at certain levels? But the reason why we do it is to have teams compete. And Mount St. Michael's is a great example. They went down to the AA2 this year, and now they can get their program back to where it was, and they can start a rebuild process. It's exactly what we're trying to do. They're a perfect example of what we're all about.
It's funny too, as the first quarter has come to an end. I don't know if you knew this. I don't know if you spoke to Mario about this either on Championship Saturday or the lead up to that game, or even today. He's one of the head coaches that are here today. He never played a championship game here. Did you know that? Think about it, because back when they were winning the AAA, it was at St. John's year in and year out, and that was the championship venue, right? And then the last two that they competed for were against Hayes. So that was off Murdoch Avenue right there, a home game for them against Cardinal Hayes. So this was a unique situation for Mount to come out to Uniondale.
In 1996, he won. I was the head coach of Christ the King at the time. We played in the semifinals against St. Anthony's, and we played at Hofstra. That was the days when we played a semifinal doubleheader, and we played at Hofstra, and then the following week, Mount St. Michael beat St. Anthony's at Iona College. So that was one of his championships in 96. It was at Iona College. So a really small venue, but back then we were able to get it done.
Another run there by Wiseman at St. Joe's C. And one of the programs, the league has so many teams with head coaches with great legacies, and St. Joe's C is one of those where it's the new blood, right? New head coach there for the Vikings this season.
Yeah, Trevor. He actually played for my coach Kamal Roy. Kamal was an assistant at Hofstra University. He played at Hofstra under Kamal. So it's great to have guys with that kind of pedigree and coming into the league. Tremendous.
3rd and 5 for New York City. Wiseman a quick out, run towards that sideline. I think, did he get the first down? He did. That was A.J. Perez out of Cardinal Hayes. Had 21 receptions, 343 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And you like the little giddy up there by Perez, knowing exactly where he had to get to, and does get that first down. Of course, plays for C.J. O'Neill up there off the Grand Concourse.
Yeah, Coach O'Neill, he had a very, very young team this year. I think he was starting 4 or 5 sophomores on defense, and playing in the AAA division. They had a rough year schedule-wise, record-wise, but there's a lot to be heard from them in the next couple of years for sure.
1st and 10 from the 48-yard line. It's a short run there on that far side. It looked like that was Shane Zalotowski. And Zalotowski, of course, plays for Chris Stevens at Xavier. That single wing, man, he is not giving that up. It works. Why change? Love it. And Zalotowski, man, 5'9", 150. He technically, he's in the quarterback position, but there's no such thing as a quarterback in the single wing.
I always have to tell Coach Stevens, when he submits stuff to the league, he always puts his positions in, which are all kinds of different numbers and letters.
6 tackle.
Yeah. I have to tell him sometimes. Guy's an offensive tackle. He's not a 6T.
Fumble there, and a fortunate bounce for Zalatovsky, and he's able to just get out to the sticks there to about the 48-yard line.
They got really tough kids at Xavier. You know, they're a perfect example of what our league is all about, right? I mean, all the different cultures in our league and all the different things in our league and all the different types of schools that have to develop things. I mean, they don't think, obviously they're right in the middle of heart of Manhattan.
Yeah.
And have to get on a bus every day for practice. 3 teams on 3 buses. You know, it's a whole different world compared to, you know, schools that have fields in their backyard, and that's what's great about our league, really.
Also, what a great success story they were this year too. They had one win a year ago, and you know, Stevens told us leading up to the championship game. I'll get that in a second. There's a pass far side, diving catch.
Great.
And that is complete. Terrific catch there by Joke Davukai. No surprise there, right? He made a lot of those catches. How about 65 on the season for Coach O.D. up there in White Plains for 1,042 yards and 7 touchdowns? You put it anywhere near Davukai, and he's making that catch. But back to Xavier for a moment. You know, they're one of those, and you know, we look forward to when we don't have to talk about COVID anymore, but they were one of those teams really affected by it because, you know, you go back to the COVID spring season and everybody in the Catholic Football League played except 2 Jesuit schools, Fordham Prep and Xavier. And Xavier didn't play because they have such a storied rugby program, right? One of the best, if not the best in the country. And how about the defense there as well? A couple of big dudes there making the big play.
Looks like 2 Titans.
I was going to say, so I would guess that's Bacon and Briggs.
Bacon and Briggs.
The B&B boys. You know that's going to come up, and we'll take another look here as Bacon. This is what he's done all year. Briggs as well. Look at that. On both sides of the ends, right?
They'll be arguing tomorrow on who really got the sack, but we're going to give them a half each.
Yeah, I think we'll share that one for the B&B boys. But, back to Xavier. So they don't play in that spring season, but also they don't get the off-season workout routine because you can't get in the gym and COVID protocols, and that's really affects Xavier because their offense is predicated on physicality everywhere, right? You're always running the ball, and it's always tight runs as well, as it's a 1st and 10. So that was a 4th down, so the city takes over, Long Island takes over at midfield. So he knew he'd take his lumps a year ago in the AA. They did. They only won 1 game. They go to AA2. They have a fantastic season there. His guys are back in, and he fielded a team last year in that 1-win season that had no varsity experience for anybody.
Right.
So he knew they take their licks. They did, and he knew they'd be better this year, and he said it as well. I know you guys have the meeting coming up on the 14th, I guess it is, right, of December, but he said we're going to be AA next year, and that's a perfect spot, I think, for Xavier traditionally as well. So one of those success stories again this year. 2nd and 6 for Long Island. Run to the right side, broken tackle. A little bit of a rugby strum and a push. I think that was Ethan Cumming out of Kellenberg. Massapequa Park native, 120 carries for 643 yards and 7 touchdowns this year. Big size running back as well, 6'2", 195. Made tremendous leaps this year for Coach Micey in his first season as Firebirds head coach.
Yeah, we had a great. Obviously, as you know, that's one of our rivals and one of our local schools. All the guys know each other. We had one heck of a game here that day against them, and really great crowd, and it was a tremendous day for both schools.
Quarterback keeper this time looked like it was going to be blown up for a moment, and then a rush to the outside. Is that Zion Woodall-Trippett, another Titan, and a guy who as well last year split time with literally split every series with Rocco Rainone, and Rainone kind of edged him out for that starting spot, but you love that Zion just hung with it, and he accepted his role, and when Rocco Rainone got hurt late in the season, there was Zion Woodall-Trippett coming in and playing well.
Yep, it was a situation where we had 2 really good quality quarterbacks, and this year Coach Roy basically brought them both in before the season and said, "Look, last year we kind of split time the whole year, but this year we're going to decide on a guy. That's how we're going to do it." And that's the way it went. But Zion is definitely a talented player.
Plenty of protection there as the pass to the outside. That is incomplete. Woodall Trippett, good size, right? 6'3", 205 out of West Babylon. Threw for 3 touchdowns this year, 240 yards as well. It's a 3rd and 13. I'll tell you, what a season for the league in the quarterback position. It's ironic, too, because 3 of the guys aren't here tonight. One of them is still a junior, Will Curd, the lefty out of Stepinac. But, Dante Torres, of course, just won a state championship with St. Anthony's, and a Johnny Shepard. The big news for the Iona Prep QB as a fumble off the snap, a little dump over the middle, incomplete there as well, is that Shepard decommitted from Old Dominion, and he's just now committed to Rutgers University. So congratulations to Johnny. But, those weren't just the 3 top quarterbacks in this league, but in the tri-state as well. And, I think in any other season, you put a Devin Page in that conversation, and, of course, Rocco Raynon did what he did, and John Mikowski, you can't leave him out of the conversation. So an incredible season in the New York Catholic High School Football League for quarterbacks this year.
Well, when you bring up that tri-state conversation, too, we as you know, we worked out a deal with the New Jersey Catholic, the Super Conference in New Jersey this year, and we had what we call the Battle for the Bridge.
Wait a minute. What do we got? We are going here for a 58-yard field goal.
All right, here we go. He got a 53. He has a 53 in the season.
Snap is good. Glusick, does he have the distance? He actually did have the distance. He just hooked it wide.
He had the leg there. Definitely had the leg there. That's great. That's great that Coach Micey gave him an opportunity to do that too. That's what this is all about too. But going back to the Battle of the Bridge was something that really, I mean, 9 of our schools played 9 New Jersey schools, and it was great for our league and for their league. We won 3 of the games, and pretty much every game was competitive. And it looks like next year, we have a 2-year deal with them, and so they're going to come over to this side of the bridge.
Are they now?
Yeah, it looks. I mean, I'll give you a little inside info.
All right.
But it looks
between
like,
us.
It looks like we're going to have 3 locations and put 3 games in each location. One on Long Island, one up in Westchester, and one on Staten Island. That's the plan. So
I like it.
The weekend of I guess it's September 15th of next year. So.
Does that mean Bosco has to travel this time? Fumble on the play and a recovery there, a fortunate bounce.
They're going to have to come. So 2 years in a row, Iona went to Bosco. So this year, they're going to come over the bridge for sure.
Wow. Get the GPS and the easy pass out for those Ironmen out of Don Bosco.
And we played at Rutgers last year. Most of the games were at Rutgers, not all of them, but.
And some incredible games there as well. I mean, so many where, the Holy Trinity game against Immaculata comes down to the end, and the Hayes game came right down to the end, and then, of course, the barn burner between St. Anthony's and St. Joe's from Montvale as well. Some incredible games on the day. Stepinac beats DePaul.
Well, it is too, Dylan. It's one of those things where the argument, there's always been the conversation, right, about what football's better, and New Jersey football is better than New York football, and then the New York guys say, give us a shot and all that. And it was an opportunity for programs to get on a field together. And really, I think there's a newfound respect between both sides, to be honest.
Tackled there by Brian Daly out of St. Francis Prep. What a year he had as well. The D-end, 6'1", 248 out of Franklin Square, 57 tackles, 20 of them for losses. 5 sacks as well. He became this year the backbone of Rich Carroll's defense there for the Terriers. Also did a great job in his leadership role of helping out the younger guys as well. Had some interest from Stony Brook. And we're starting to see, too, a lot of these guys, these uncommitted or unsigned guys, they're out in social media saying, thanking the different coaches as Mikowski just throws it up into the Long Island sideline. But their recruiting is starting to heat up as well now with the season over, and fresh film as well from this season being able to be shared.
Recruiting's so different now, Dylan. It's like we talked about at the preseason when you guys did the preseason show with us. Recruiting is so different than it was back, even a couple of years ago. With everybody having access to film, and it's in social media, and the world is so much smaller now, right? I mean, it's just the way it is, and it's made people ask, like, all of a sudden you have people coming into the schools like Georgia and Alabama and South Carolina and Notre Dame, and it's basically because of the access they have to our kids, which they didn't have in the past.
Yeah, the funny thing, the argument was always like, they don't cross the bridge,
right?
But now you kind of don't have to, or at least you get your initial recruiting done without having to, because of social media, because of these varsity media and all these other broadcasting teams as well.
Yep.
So punt for the city, and it's a short one here, and whatever the yell that you want to do, poison, whatever, just get out of the way, as Long Island will have some great field position. And, speaking about recruiting videos, and we'll show you another one of the players that we got to meet and know throughout the season. How about Anthony Martelli? Listen, you're an Italian from Staten Island. His mom's favorite dish is fried meatballs. You know that is good, right?
I remember, I think when we played them
yeah,
I saw that.
Rush Hour 2 and Madden, right? That's the game for Anthony Martelli. He's one of the Mavericks here playing in this game tonight. Part of that group right now looking to try to get a stop, as it's the QB from St. Francis Prep, Isaiah DeCruz, juking and trying to get out. DeCruz out of Jamaica threw for 821 yards and 8 touchdowns. He carried the ball 42 times for 311 and 3 scores. Another guy who made a big jump and a lot of improvement this year. He's one of those, too, and you love it. And I think Devin Page is similar. He's one of those guys who maybe turns a mediocre play into a big play, right, just because he's so active and always keeps those legs churning. So it's a 2nd and 6 for the city. DeCruz, little sidearm look to Creo, and Creo does the rest, gets out to about the 21-yard line.
Well, it's just a product of the way we play football now. Years ago, there were guys playing quarterback now that would never be thought about being a quarterback years ago. But now that you put your best athlete there. Used to be the biggest guy who can throw the ball the furthest. It's not like that anymore.
Handoff, and looks like that was Malpin again, right? Pushing forward. Running clock here, so we'll call a timeout with 52 seconds. And see different jerseys there. You see big 64, of course. That's Mason Dietrich right in the middle of that huddle out of Massapequa. Just a Fordham commit, just recent Fordham commit. By the way, speaking of Mason, look at this, right on cue, right? Favorite athlete, Jason Kelsey, pregame. Listen, you love when an offensive lineman says pancakes, right? On or off the field, loves the pancakes. And the 3 people he said that he'd like to invite to dinner, his grandpa, Kenny, who unfortunately passed before he was born, Brandon Bullsworth. I love that shout-out here from him there as well. A lineman who just made the most of his opportunities, right? A walk-on who earned the scholarship and then went on, was going to play in the NFL, unfortunately died in a car accident, and you got to invite MJ, right? So Michael Jordan as well. I guess Greg, his dad Greg is not part of that dinner.
No.
He's got to sit off to the side.
That's your buddy, right?
Yeah, we went to prep together. Part of that, one of those great Coach O'Connor teams, as there's a quick out as well to Creo again. Maybe we're setting up here for either a score or another field goal attempt by Glusick. Hurry up offense. 35 seconds, a 3rd and 6 from the 17-yard line. There's the Cruz kicking it to the outside.
Timeout, Coach. Yep.
So the tackle there by Jandiel Jimenez there out of Archbishop Stepanak. 62 tackles and 4 for losses this year for Archbishop Stepanak. And it's remarkable, too, Chris, because and the guys here are probably, tired of me saying this, but it still amazes me. You had so much parity at the very top of the AAA this year that literally a blocked field goal at the end of that Stepanak game and the run back, Ian Strong blocks it, and then Jaden Jenkins returns it all the way, and that flipped the entire script of how the playoffs were going to look. St. Anthony's became the 1 instead of the 3. It's Stepanek that then has to be the 3 and go to Iona.
Well, that was the talk of That was the talk of the league.
Incredible.
And as the year was going on, the talk of the league was that the top 3 schools were the top 3 schools, right? And that you're right. The difference between having to face each other in the semifinals, face one or the other in the semifinals, as opposed to being the 1 seed, was a huge difference. And you're right. I mean, I was watching that game, and just to see, the way Stepanek, drove down the field, did a great job, and then for something like that to happen, that's football. That's high school football.
DeCruz looks for options, rolls out, look out. Under pressure, just side arm slings it out of the way, and they're going to try to hurry up here, looks like. Long Island, can they get the field goal off? You see Glusick setting up. This is going to be a tough one. You got to get it off. The attempt will be from the 21, so a 31-yarder. Can they get it off? Glusick, 31-yard field goal. Man, that almost landed, I think, what is that? Charles Lindbergh Boulevard back there out of the complex, and that's the way the first half ends as Glusick. A lot of special teams plays here. It started with Drake Curtin returning the opening kickoff, and Evan Glusick, he didn't make it from, 58, but he nails it from 31.
That would have been good from 45 for sure.
I think so, as Long Island takes a 14 or 17-0 lead into the half. Let me ask you a question. Are you hungry?
Always.
We're going to have a treat for you there. Look at that. Pizzeria G. How's that look for you, right? That's going to be their upside-down Sicilian. That's got your name all over it. I'm going to go the traditional regular slice for you here, a little food review. You've loved watching us do these food reviews this year. Chris Harder, you are part of the food review here at halftime. It is 17-0, the lead for Long Island. You're watching the New York Catholic High School Football League Senior Bowl right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
Hi, I'm Gene Sterator, CBS Rules Analyst and longtime sports official. For the adults watching this video, you grew up in a world where officials, umpires, and referees for youth sports took their place regularly and reliably ahead of game time. Today, unfortunately, it's getting harder and harder to fill those jobs. Videos showing abusive treatment of officials multiply on social media. And there have been consequences for the dreadful behavior of players, fans, and coaches. Massive shortages of officials now lead to games being canceled, and the positive effects of athletic competition are at critical risk for this generation and those to come. I'm hoping we all can begin to see youth competition through a different lens. Today, mistreatment of officials has become normalized, and we are facing an abnormal future where no officials to hire means no games on the schedule.
Any call, any decision, any human effect on wins and losses has become subject to not just withering criticism, but physical threats. There's a vicious cycle at work. Fans chase away officials, and there is a smaller pool to draw from, which makes it harder to get quality, well-trained people in position. The entire game suffers.
Did you know, according to the National Federation of High Schools, 80% of new officials quit the game after just 2 seasons because of abusive behavior from the stands and sidelines? This sort of verbal abuse and threatening behavior takes a toll on all officials and makes them leave the game altogether.
Did you know, from 2018 to 2022, an estimated 50,000 high school referees, roughly 20%, have quit. Half of the remaining referee population is at least 50 years old, but young officials are rarely staying more than 3 years in the job.
If the number of officials working contests in all sports doesn't begin to increase, there won't be enough officials to work the games. That means schedules will get cut, teams or even sports might get canceled. In many states, this is already happening.
Remember that officials are invested in what they do. Many officials have regular, full-time jobs, and they're sacrificing time away from their families. Try to demonstrate empathy. Put yourself in their position. Think how you would feel about getting yelled at throughout your workday.
Yelling and arguing with officials sends the wrong message to young players. According to Play by the Rules Sports Advocacy, it teaches them that it's not okay to make a mistake. They can blame others for their actions. They can disrespect authority figures. And it's okay to be rude and selfish.
You know, officials enforce rules, keep competitions fair, and make player safety a priority, allowing youth sports to be a valuable arena for growth. If we can all just work together and be more empathetic to not just the officials, but everyone else in youth and high school sports, we can then preserve what many of us have embraced about athletics. And you and I know the benefits of sports, right? Let's spread that gratitude and be proud of what we can build and not blind to how it's being torn down. Calling officials cheaters or corrupt, it's not a game.
Insulting referees, it's not a game.
Threatening officials, it's not a game.
Berating young umpires, learning the ropes, it's not a game.
Violent language in the stands, it's not a game.
Verbal abuse from the sideline, it's not a game.
Screaming at a referee in the parking lot, it's not a game.
So what happens now? Your response in the heat of the moment is the only thing you totally control, and we have an experiment for you to try. Simply stated, just cheer for your child or the team you're there to support. Move that desire to lash out to a different place and encourage without rage. Your child's sporting memory should be about.
Welcome back to Mitchell Athletic Complex. Dylan Butler, Chris Hardart here with you. It's halftime of the New York Catholic High School Football League Senior Bowl in Long Island with a 17-0 lead. We've brought you food reviews all throughout the season. We continue it here tonight with Pizzeria G. Located there, 191, you see it, 7th Street in Garden City, right next to French Workshop, 516-231-2311. Known for their variety of choices for pizza. Hey, variety is a spice of life. So they're using that motto here at Pizzeria G. The G is for great pizza here. A Friar alum. I don't know if you like that or don't like that. You're a Holy Trinity guy. So Julian Giannuzzi there, the St. Anthony's alum. We thank him so much. So tonight, Chris, you're going to try the upside down Sicilian. And listen, you're a Christ the King guy. So this is familiar. This is familiar territory to you, right? That great pizzeria chain there, Roses. So this is going to be a similar taste for you. I'm going to go old school. I'm just going to go regular pie, right? So here we go. First of all, the thing I like here, I love the crust. Can you see this here? Look at that, little burnt. I like the well done.
And this looks pretty good too.
Right, me and Mike there over at Kellenberg, we like that. So here we go. Got the folds. What do you think?
Well, I'm a Queens guy, Dylan, and I know a lot of good pizza.
100%.
We both know a lot of good pizza. So it seems like the Long Island guys now know a little bit about pizza too.
Yeah.
Because it's really good.
Yeah, I think Pizzeria G, man, they nail it. Fantastic. This is your regular slice, right? Bare bones, but listen, you don't mess with perfection. That's what the guys at Pizzeria G are doing. Fantastic upside down Sicilian slice as well. They've got all kinds of terrific pizza, pasta, salads, heroes, all kinds of stuff there. Pizzeria G, 191 7th Street, Garden City, right next to French Workshop, 516-231-2311. Julian Giannuzzi, he's got it going on. Pizzeria G, even for a Holy Trinity guy, it tastes good.
We're a Queens guy.
Yes,
Queens guy
sir.
first. Queens guy first.
We'll take another
in the
quick.
country.
There you go. Take another quick break, and we'll have the second half here when we return here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports. Tri-State area sports leader. We offer an array of services for any team, coach, player, athletic director, and parent. From game film to live streaming, we are available to cover your event anytime, any place. Looking for an enhanced experience? How about a professional broadcast with multiple camera angles, announcers, graphics, and instant replay? Need a highlight reel? We produce individual highlights for college recruiting and team highlight videos for end-of-season banquets. And when it comes to social media, nobody has you covered better than us. Hype videos, sideline highlights. We can tailor custom videos to make your team stand out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Why waste your time dealing with anyone else? When it comes to sports video, Varsity Media stands alone.
Well, we start the first half with a kickoff return for a touchdown, and the same is true in half number 2. It was Drake Curtin in the first half and Serge Legardere bringing it. And a huge response right away from New York City. And look at Serge. He has the blockers upfield. Even Evan Glusick, he's not getting a piece. Serge with the surge into the end zone. Touchdown for New York City, just the way they had it drawn up clearly at halftime. Maybe they had some Pizzeria G at halftime because they came out pumped up, and what a way to start the second half as New York City gets on the board. Another kickoff return for a touchdown. Chris Hardick, we can go seasons sometimes without seeing that. We've got the opening kickoff of the first half and the opening kickoff of the second half for touchdowns.
Well, I got to find out who the special teams guys are, who the special teams coaches are. They might not be asked back next year, too.
Well, you did mention, of course, that Shane DeLacy's PAT is up and good. You mentioned Eric Micey on the one side, right? He's the head coach of this Long Island team, and the head coach over on the other side, that sideline there, is Mark DeCristoforo out of St. Peter's, has returned as the Eagles head coach. He wanted to make sure I shout out his daughter, Callie. Callie, by the way, had her first basketball game tonight, and maybe not the best dad move there for Mark, but he said, listen, this game was already scheduled. I already had a commitment to my seniors in these cities from New York City, but he just asked if we can give Callie a shout out.
Mark's pretty passionate about his program and definitely passionate about the league. He was born and bred in the league, and there's a lot of guys like that you know I've known since they've been players in the league, you know, and you know, and Eric Micey from Kellenberg and Mark, and you know it's every year we always have to have a conversation about who's going to take the responsibility of being a head coach because of this game, you know, and so I start talking about it with a couple of guys on my committee, and you know, I kind of have to ask these guys and twist their arm a little bit because it's, like you said, it's taking time away from their family. They just got done coaching a long season. I know Eric has a little baby at home also, but you know, these guys are tremendous people.
Yeah, probably not the easiest conversation home, right?
No,
like,
definitely not.
Listen, hon, yeah, the season's over, but we do have a few more practices to go. And by the way, I'm going to go to Long Island on Wednesday night.
Right.
Wait, what?
But you know what? They're dedicated to the kids, and you know, this is Andre again.
Yeah, Dre, a little stutter step. Oh, he finds a lane as well. Kicks it to the outside. This one, though, will not be returned for a touchdown.
But yeah, so these guys, I mean, that's the special thing about our league too, right? I mean, that you got guys that are born and bred in the league and came through and played in all of our programs, and then come back and coach the kids, and there's all these traditions in everybody's program, right? And that's what this league is all about, really.
Yeah, I feel like you can go through, and as you were saying that, I started thinking through, right? Like Rich Carroll played for Vince O'Connor, was an assistant coach under the legendary St. Francis Prep coach Kamal Roy, of course, played at Holy Trinity. Spags up in Iona, right? Was a QB for the Gales as well, and you can kind of go down this line. So many of these guys, came in as players, and then
Mario Valentini played at Mount St. Michael.
There you go.
Back at Mount St. Michael.
There was actually another coach for Mount St. Michael before Mario.
Yeah. But really, you're absolutely right. I always tell a story about when I started in the league in 1989, and I walked into the room as a brand new head coach, and sitting in Mount St. Michael cafeteria and looking around and seeing guys that are basically legendary names, like you said, Vinny O'Connor and Tom Pugh and Mario Valentini and Richie Reichert and Tony Massia from Holy Trinity and myself were brand new coaches in the league at that time. And we walked into this room of all these legends, It was tremendous.
Page over the middle, that's incomplete. And it's funny, our conversation leading up to the AA2 championship game, Chris Stevens had something similar to say. He said, anytime Mario, you have one of your league meetings, and he said, I feel so much better that Mario wants to actually talk to me. Like, he's a legend in this league, and that's one of the great things I think about, the Catholic League in general, whether it's, basketball, baseball, whatever it is. In this case, it's football. Just guys who are lifers, right? And leaving a legacy for the younger guys now. Now a guy like Kamal Roy following in the footsteps of a Tony Massia.
Well, I think about it now, and I'm no longer a young guy. I started out as a young guy, and now it's
You got that great stash going back when you were the CK coach.
35 years later, and I'm still here. It's amazing,
Oh, that was a drop. That was a nice looking pass as well. I think that was. Again, was it Page?
That was Dre. Yep, to Dre Curtin.
So a 3 and out, and maybe a little bit of life here for New York City, right? You get the kickoff return for a touchdown. You get a stop as well, and Glusick again has that ability to really bomb this football. So you might not get the field position that you think you could here with the punt coming from inside the 25. The one thing that we've learned, I think anytime we're out here at Mitchell Athletic Complex, it is windy, and it's especially so tonight. A bit of a wobbly punt there. Look out from behind. They'll be down at about the 20-yard
Mike O'Donnell
line.
from Stepinac loves Mitchell Field. He thinks it's the greatest place in the world.
Does he really? No. I was going to say, that's a long trip for Coach O.D.
He'll send me a text. He said, how does it look at beautiful Mitchell Field? That's his comment to me all the time about, because he played here. We played them in 2008 in the AA championship game, Holy Trinity against Stepinac, and it probably was 15 degrees that day, and it was so cold. And I think that might be the first year that we came here, and ever since that day, Coach O.D., that's all he ever talks about, is that one night that we almost froze ourselves out here. But it actually, I'll give a shout out to the people of Mitchell Field, because they've been a great partner to us. It's not easy to find a facility, to host 3 championship games, with the kind of crowds that we attract and things like that, and press boxes and, the whole locker rooms, everything. So they've been a really good partner to us.
And it goes beyond, too, the championship games and the Senior Bowl, because you mentioned Xavier before. There's a quarterback keeper and a push forward here for New York City. It goes beyond, Xavier trying to find a field, and they found the home field. That was Wiseman with the push forward down at Aviator Sports Complex. A similar, smaller stadium, but, similar in terms of their facilities as to here. But, this is a place that hosts, St. Francis Prep, right, for home games. And Kellenberg, of course, is right across the street. But, you mentioned the city school is just at such a disadvantage. It's unfortunate there isn't that St. John's like there once was, where Christ the King and Holy Cross and even St. Francis Prep can call it home.
Right.
As they did back in the day. 2nd and 6. Nice juke to the outside. Another one of the Stepanak guys, right? Another one of Coach OD's guys. It was Serge Lagardère. Serge had that opening kickoff return for the touchdown. Good to see Coach OD before this game. Thought maybe he'd be one of our viewers since he loves Mitchell Athletic Complex so much. He's here today. So hey, him and Mario Valentini before as well. First and 10 from the 41-yard line as New York City looking to slice into their deficit. Their handoff, terrific defense, and that's another one of those Long Island, another one of those Chaminade guys, right? Battaglia, the linebacker. What a season he had for the Flyers. Another one of these guys now looking to get himself into college. 89 tackles on the year, 11 for losses. He was that emotional heartbeat guy for the Flyers. And, not to bring up bad memories for you as the Holy Trinity athletic director, but Battaglia, what a game he did have against the Titans there that afternoon at Nychsfl. Had a couple of interceptions and really led a stout defense to that win. The only loss this year for the Titans.
That was a great CHSFL football game, though.
Lagardère spins, turns. He breaks a tackle. And look at this. Surge to the outside. And he's finally pulled down. And Lagardère wants a little extra there, maybe for a face mask. But, man, talk about the size. Size doesn't matter, right? Look at Lagardère here on the flip to the left. Watch the cut here. Breaks the first tackle. Spins. It helps, I think, to be that size, right? He can duck under some things.
What's amazing to see, Dylan, is that these guys really had 3 days of practice together, right? And they're able to execute and run an offense and execute defensively. It's amazing. It's amazing the caliber of players, the football IQ out there. If you tried to do this with your regular high school football team and practice for 3 days to get a game, you would never be able to do it,
Wiseman, look out. And he's knocked down from behind, and I think that was again Battaglia getting him by the ankle.
That always amazed me. You're basically a couple hours into practice and you're literally running an offense, and it's sometimes people think coaching's overrated, right? But when you have 50 players senior players who are veteran high school football players, it's a tribute to them. How you can speak a language to them that they understand immediately.
This isn't basketball where you can run a few different things and freelance a little bit as well. You've got to have a playbook here as there was a push forward. That was Mauricio Cetina. He's a great story, Chris. How about this? This is a guy who transferred to Farrell from Cancun. Yeah, that Cancun in Mexico. It was his dream to play Farrell football. You see his aunt lives on Staten Island. The family moved out to the island this year for him to play, and Cetina had that opportunity to, and what a great year he had as well. 59 carries for 357 yards and 3 touchdowns. 3rd and goal from the 1. Hand off, and there is the touchdown.
Well, you talk about one of the teams in the league with a tremendous tradition, right? Monsignor Farrell, tremendous tradition of football there, and the pride of the Lions, and Tony Garofalo, now the athletic director who stepped down as the head coach last year, and one of his proteges, Rocco Del Pori, took the job and is going to continue. Again, true league guys that really care about the league and care about the kids and care about all the kids in our league, and Rocco's going to do a great job there at Monsignor Farrell.
I don't know if I ever told you, Chris, but my first impressions as a St. Francis Prep student of Monsignor Farrell were not good. My first 3 years at St. Francis Prep, the Terriers won the AAA championship. So my senior year, Greg Dietrich and those guys, Frank Carpentier and all these other guys, right, they were going – St. Francis was trying to become the first team ever to win 4 in a row. We get to St. John's for the championship game, and the Lions ended that streak.
Was that the 7-0 game?
No, it was like I forgot the final score, but I remember a late field goal by Farrell, and I remember it like it was yesterday. It was to this end zone to the right where they had the tennis bubble, and heartbreak for.
Those were great nights at St. John's. Those were great.
Well, that one wasn't. Yeah. Speaking of St. Francis Prep, let's get to know Sharif Memminger out of Far Rockaway. Favorite movie, Remember the Titans. Favorite song as well, Letter from Houston by Rod Wave. And his favorite vacation spot, Aruba. I like it from Sharif. And I think Rich Carroll told a great story about Sharif as well, among a group of guys who at open house, they were welcoming guys in. Listen, you want to be part of a family as soon as you come to St. Francis Prep. You want to feel like you belong, come and join us at our football table and be one of us, be one of our brothers.
Yep.
And that's what this very much is. It's a brotherhood. High school football is like nothing else in sports, really. You don't match your high school days. These guys don't know that yet, but they'll know in 10 and 20 years' time.
So true. So like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, right, these guys are going to have, I'm telling you, there's going to be some lifelong friendships that have developed out of this game,
17-14 the score for Long Island over New York City. Dylan Butler here with Chris Hardert as well at Mitchell Athletic Complex for the final competitive football game of the season. And I think you guys do this so well, right? You've got other championships as well, other all-star games where it's, Nassau All-Stars and the Suffolk All-Stars. You bring it all together here. It is a large scope of geography that you're dealing with in the New York High School Football League like none other. And how about this run up the middle?
He's going to go.
Touchdown. He had a huge run earlier as well. And how about Nakai Maupin out of Holy Cross? Listen, man, Holy Cross guys are having themselves days in this game, right? Remember last year? As you see it again, Maupin with the run for the touchdown. Tim Smith somewhere here loving to look at this. Look at Maupin just getting to the edge. 5'9", 170, rush for a couple of touchdowns, 418 yards for the Knights of Holy Cross. Tim Smith, another one of those guys as well, right, where
another great league guy.
I try to remind him about his allegiance to St. Francis Prep, his kids as well, and of course
his daughter and daughter and my daughter ran track together at St. Francis Prep.
Of course, now the head coach was a longtime assistant coach for Tom Pugh, of course, the legend at Holy Cross. And, we speak about another one of these guys, Dan Licata, St. Peter's. Mark DeCristoforo is going to love this. Listen, this is a guy, right, 6'2", 235. Again, another Italian at Staten Island. He knows where to go, man, to get his slice. Spumani Gardens, baby. Go-to dish, Mom's Chicken Cutlets. And another one of those dreams and nightmares from Meek Mills on his playlist, on his game day playlist. Maybe that was on his game day playlist here coming out from Staten Island out to Uniondale today. So Long Island extends their lead 24-14. 4:55 left in this third quarter. You got 3 deep here for New York City. Glusick booms it. Backing guys up, and this one will be fielded at about the 1-yard line. Running up that far sideline. That was Jake Goodyear out of St. Peter's. A couple times this year was a Staten Island Player of the Week. 5 kickoff returns for touchdowns this year for Jake, who did in fact have a good year for St. Peter's.
Think about all the quality football players on Staten Island, right? I mean, it's not a big place. It's not the same size as Long Island, right? And they have, quality programs, between St. Peter's and Monsignor Farrell and St. Joe's and Moore Catholic. You have quality football programs at all 4 places.
Run up the middle. And we've seen a little bit of a change in the landscape, right, on Staten Island, as that man right there, Mikowski, a big part of the resurgence of Moore Catholic, right, where their team last 2 years have played for the AA1 championship game. Unfortunately for the Mavericks, they've come up short in both of those title games. But, listen, they beat Monsignor Farrell this year. And, Nick Giannatasio was proud to say, they've got a really good record against the other Staten Island teams. And that's important when you have prospective student athletes looking to see where they want to go.
Now, we had two great football games against Moore Catholic this year.
Oh, look at him air it out. What a pass and a terrific catch as well down the field. Davukai, he knows how to celebrate that touchdown. What a score for New York City. A bomb by Mikowski finds Davukai. Looks like they worked out the celebrations as well at one of those days of practice, right? 75 yards to the house. Look at his pass. Oh, man. Mikowski airs it out. Davukai,
great throw and catch.
That's that kind of a dream combination you get in a game like this, right? A guy like Mikowski, who's that dual threat guy who has an incredible arm. He's, in fact, the strongest guy in that Moore Catholic team, deadlifts over 500 pounds. And then you've got Davukai, who, again, arguably one of the best receivers. Of course, some of the best in the AAA this year, in fact, aren't even seniors, right? Like a KJ Duff. Ian Strong this year is a senior. He came across to the other side. Those great guys at the Titans as well. Josiah Brown, of course, as the PAT is up and good. We've got a game, man. 24-21.
That's exactly what I said as we started the broadcast, right? These guys now all of a sudden it's a 24-21 game, and they're playing as competitively as they've played all year, and they're playing with all guys that they haven't played all year. They played against in many cases, right? And it just turns. I've seen this so many times over the years. We have all of a sudden it turns into a real competitive game, and the competitive juices flow for these guys, and they really want to win the game. It's a lot of bragging rights.
How about Tommy Geis out of Fordham Prep? His hometown is Rye. A grilled pizza. That's interesting. I like that by Tommy Geis. Rock the Casbar goes a little old school there on his game day playlist. Respect that.
That's back in my day.
Yeah, respect that. Absolutely. Antonio Callaway as well. It's one of those, I think, that what's old is new again, I guess. Yeah. Good stuff there by Tommy Geis out of Fordham Prep. How about that? Fordham Prep Xavier going for the 100th edition of their Turkey Bowl game next Thanksgiving. Amazing stuff. They've played on Thanksgiving Day before even the Thanksgiving parade, before the Macy's parade. I think they were like the 93rd year this year, Macy's. They played football between these two Jesuit schools even well before that.
Before the league.
Yeah.
Really.
Ball fielded there at the 30. Fordham Prep won that game again this year. The other big Thanksgiving Day game, of course, is Hayes and Mount every year up there at the Mount.
I think they're at 75.
Yep.
I think they're at 75.
And Hayes winning that one. And interesting there, too, where you've got a C.J. O'Neill who played for Mario Valentini, and he's a Mount grad. Now he leads the charge for the Hayesmen.
Well, this year was a very competitive game. The last few years it hadn't been. Cardinal Hayes being AAA team, but this year it was definitely there were more competitive juices flowing in that game for sure.
All right, so Long Island's going to have a response here. New York City has brought it here in the second half. It's only a 3-point lead, which maybe ironically comes down to that field goal at the end of the first half there by Glusick. Has a nice run there by Cumming up the middle. Ethan Cumming, a Massapequa Park guy. Long Island gets the first down on that play. What I love, too, that you do in this game, I'm sure it's a matter of finances, but I love that they have all got their high school helmets on as well. You give them the jerseys, right, and the pants and all that.
No, the pants are theirs also.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right, and it helps the broadcaster as Dieguez looks long. That's an incomplete pass.
You know what they didn't do this year, Dylan, and I think it was just a matter of the quickness of the way we usually play this game on a Sunday, but we played during the week this year. But anyway, usually there's a sticker day, there's a decal day where they all trade their decals and they put all different schools on their helmets. It doesn't seem like they had an opportunity to do that this year, but that's always a great tradition in the league also.
That pass was intended for Jason Ziva, and what a year he had as well for the Cougars. 47 receptions, 750 yards, and 10 touchdowns. And then he does the intangibles as well as another run up the middle. And once again, it's Malpin.
He's having a day.
He is having a day, and you start to think late third quarter about MVPs of this game, and there's still a lot of football left, but Malpin is putting a stamp on it a little bit here with this consistency. Oh, and how about that? It's not the first tackler, but the second, it looks like. Coming with the carry. Looks like the hit was made. Was that 35 on the other side? I think that was Anthony Martelli. We showed him before, right, out of Moore Catholic.
Looks like they're going to go for it here. Coach Micey's going to go for it here on 4th down.
So 4th and 2.
Doesn't he always have a great punter? He's a great punter on that team, doesn't he?
Yeah. He does. All right, let's see. Your QB is Dieguez under center, under his own center, which is Dietrich. Little cadence, maybe? Let's see. Here's the push. Follow Dietrich. Follow the big man. Get the push.
I think he got it. He got the first down. Went right behind his guy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
You follow Dietrich, you get a first down. And that horn is the end of the third quarter. We've got a ball game here for you as Long Island trying to push forward and get the win here against New York City. It's 24-21. You're watching the New York Catholic High School Football League Senior Bowl right here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports. High school football fans, Varsity Media is bringing exciting, exclusive content to you for the 2022 season. Introducing the Varsity Media Pass, available on iOS and Android. Accessible all season long, the Varsity Media Pass features game highlights, weekly podcasts,
a clash of styles out in Setauket. We love those differing styles, right?
Top 10 plays of the week, player interviews, and so much more. Head to varsitymediapass.com to download the app and start enjoying content only Varsity Media can bring. You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home.
Welcome back to Mitchell Athletic Complex. First play of the fourth quarter. And it's Malpin again pushing forward. A 3-yard gain as Long Island looking to hold on to this lead. It started early with Dre Curtin returning the opening kickoff for a touchdown, and then Malpin had a score as well after a turnover by New York City. It looked like it was going to be a big result for Long Island, but New York City has worked their way back into this, and it's a 3-point game here, early goings of the fourth quarter. 2nd and 7 for Long Island. And it's funny, you'd almost say that, they're rivals during the year, but Devin Page, Matt Diegas, probably happy that St. Anthony's is in the state championship game. More reps for them. Diegas steps back. Look at this arm. Diegas, end zone. Touchdown! Wow. Is that Jason Ziva? It was. Watch this again. Let's see how far he threw this football. That was from like the 48. So almost 50 yards in the air. And Ziva, right, split a pair of defenders. Big time arm by Diegas. That's one thing that he didn't really get a chance, I think, during the season to showcase. Look, he's going to go and play baseball. We know that he's got a great arm, but he's showcasing it here on the football field as Glusick will kick the extra point through the
That's another thing about this game, right, Dylan? It's like you get some of these guys, get some extra film too, get some extra tape, to send out to schools. And I can tell you, stories from guys in the past. How many people tell you that they feel like they got a scholarship or a spot to play in college because of this game?
Let's talk about college recruiting videos. We've got them there for you as well. You could stand out from the competition. You could maybe save a couple bucks in college tuition. We'll get your bio section, editing effects, music. Email jeff@varsitymedia.net for your college recruiting video. And now's the time of year, right? Guys are finishing that up, right? You've got all the highlights from the season, and you put a nice package together, and we will do that for you here at Varsity Media. So, yeah, Diegas, man, showing off that arm. And Chaminade, another one of those great stories, right, where they were a team, they were a AAA team a year ago, and the way that you had it set up, they played in the AA1, and we talked about it here on Championship Saturday. Now you changed it this year, or collectively you guys changed it, where you play in the AAA, you play in the AAA playoffs. So there was no question mark. As a terrific kick by Glusick, a touchback there. You knew that you were playing in the AAA, and that's what Chaminade did. And again, that remarkable final second win. And by the way, we've compiled our top 10 plays of the year. That is one of them. I'm not going to give away what number it is in our countdown. But to see that play in others of our top 10, you want to go to Varsity Media Pass. There you go. Get the app today, Top 10 Plays, weekly podcasts. We had the final one with myself and Jared Veluzzi for the season. iOS and Android, good through December 31st. VarsityMediaPass.com. All right, let's see if New York City here has another response. Just the two QBs for New York City. So it's Mikowski and Wiseman. That's Mikowski. An out route.
Yeah, we'll see if they answer here, and then like I said, we got ourselves a really good fourth quarter here. Like you were saying before about the way we set up the league, Dylan. One of the great things I think we did this year, we kind of fell on something here, is the fact that we play an unbalanced schedule now. And it took a little understanding by some of the coaches and some of the administrators and why we're doing it that way, and even in the public, even speaking to my own coaches, well, that's not a division game. Well, all the games counted, and we did a power rated structure, and we were really, really, really happy with the way it kind of played out this year. So
Mikowski under pressure, and he's sacked. Mr. Bacon again. I'm going to miss Chris Bacon because I for multiple reasons, but I don't get to say, my great puns about him sizzling and about how great bacon is on a Sunday. He brings it, man. And this is a guy, college coaches watching and looking, this former QB. So he has the athleticism and, just the last couple of years got put on the other side of the ball as a defensive end. And what a terrific player Chris Bacon is. LIU, Lafayette among the offers. he will make a solid college football player. 2nd and 23 from the 20. Mikowski again pressured. This time it's Briggs, rolls out of that. Throws across the field, jump ball, interception. Long Island. And it was Cannon from Kellenberg. Talk about a guy who impacts the game in multiple ways. First watch Briggs. Mikowski's like, I'm so tired of seeing you chase me around. That was the case in the AA1 championship game. Just throws it up, and Cannon with the INT. Cannon was terrific on the defensive side. On the offensive side, did the kicking, the punting. Sean Cannon did everything but drive that Firebirds bus here across the street to Mitchell Athletic Complex.
Well, that play was all about the pressure that the four guys got on the quarterback there. Chris Bacon, by the way, just yesterday he got another offer from Wagner College. So
love it.
So Chris is going to have some choices to make. And Chris is an outstanding student also. We have that great Golden 11 academic awards in our league, and the Monsignor Peters Award, which is a top scholar athlete in our league. It's amazing. I had that committee, and amazing the applications that we get for that award. Just got a little trickery here.
Yeah, a little bit, and this could end up being a big play, and it was a big play.
Andre Curtin.
Another big play by Curtin. And I guess we could mention it too, right? The awards day, which some difficult choices this year for the awards. We'll have that as well from Kellenberg, right? What is it, Sunday?
Sunday.
Yeah.
Yep. No, the fact that you guys are going to be there and sponsor our awards and take care of our awards and our big 4 awards that we give out to all 3 divisions. I mean, it's to win the offensive player of the year. We have an offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, a special teams player of the year, and a lineman of the year in each division. And, the competition, as you can see out here on the field, the competition is fierce for those awards. And, so Sunday's really, it's always a special day. We haven't done it in 2 years, Dylan,
yeah.
which we're really looking forward to getting back together and getting the breakfast, having the awards breakfast. It's always the highlight of the year for all of our programs. We honor our championship teams there. We also have a bunch of special awards that we give out to a whole bunch of players.
Yeah, so look out for that Sunday morning. Handoff. Look at Cumming. Hit the hole hard. He'll get inside the 10. I love the running by the big man there, Ethan Cumming. He's had a really good game as well.
I've been impressed with both sides of the ball on the offense and defensive lines. These guys have done a really good job all night.
1st and goal. That's Zion Woodall Trippett in shotgun. Hands off, Cumming again. Oh, he follows a big block. We're going to shout out, if we can, 68, Dylan Page going to Cornell. 6'7", 290.
Another Ivy League guy in our league, right?
Yeah, twin brother. That's nice for the Page parents, right? You got your boys, one going to UPenn, one going to Cornell. Not sure what happens when that weekend comes around and those teams play, but it's a good problem to have for Mr. and Mrs. Page. Out of Valley Stream. And Cumming, look at this. Pushes forward. And he gets into the end zone.
We really dodged the bullet with the weather here tonight, I don't know.
Yeah, it was pouring. I remember I was actually speaking with Ryan Woods, the St. Peter's basketball coach, because we'll be doing St. Peter's Cardinal Hayes basketball on the Varsity Media Sports Network Sunday up at the Grand Concourse. And he's like, "You done with football yet?" I said, "No, got one more." And look out from my office into the backyard, and the trees are swaying and the rain. I'm like, this is gonna be fun. But as you said, the rain held off here for those brave souls and the fans, and for those watching at home, we appreciate it. You've got the best seat in the house, certainly, as you're in good hands with Ron Pierre, giving you all those great moving images here, and of course, Chris Sweeney directing here for the Varsity Media Sports Network. 8:05 left, fourth quarter, and it's Long Island with a 38-21 lead. Yeah, I'm sad that I'm going to miss Sunday with the Catholic Football League. You're in good hands. John Perez will be there. I will be up in the Bronx.
John's a Middle Village guy. Right?
He is.
Right,
he's a Christ the King guy.
Yep.
So we try to keep it within the league as well.
Yep.
Here at Varsity Media.
John's brother played baseball with my son. I coached his brother Paul in summer league baseball for about 3 summers.
Oh, well.
So, small world, right?
Was he playing for like Alan Watson? Do you know, at Christ the King, or?
No, his brother played at McClancy, I believe.
Ah.
Yeah, I think it was McClancy.
Nick Melito. Don't tell me you have a third. I was going to say. Call up Sports Center, man. We might have to have a brand new top 10 plays just from this game. That was A.J. Perez. To New York City at their own 22-yard line. .724 and ticking for the city. Try to get back into this game. It's funny, you have a lot of the football guys, too. Our basketball guys, like you look at like a Jahai Gary at Stepanek, it's going to take him some time, because you get so banged up during the course of a football season, so he might not be playing for Pat Massaroni over at the Stepanek basketball team until probably like mid-December.
I love those. I love the two-sport guys. Two-sport, three-sport guys. There's not that many of them left, to be honest,
Yeah, we mentioned before in this game, right, you've got a Creo, right, and huge respect for him during the season as well, where, he's got his lacrosse commitment to Richmond, a terrific lacrosse program.
He's out here playing an all-star game.
Playing an all-star game, right.
Playing an all-star game because he loves to compete.
He was part of an emotional – it was actually – this is a great story for you. We'll get a 2nd and 12 here for New York City. As Wiseman looks like he's back in, steps out, reverses it, does a good job escaping the pressure, chased down. I think that's Luke Ventura. And, 72 will end up getting the final tackle. We'll see it again. Actually, Dean Aquilina. I knew it was a Chaminade dude. You see 72. See pressure initially again, right, coming from Briggs. Good job just escaping that. And then watch 72, man. He's 6'3", 250. But he is so fast. Dean Aquilina, what a year he had for the Flyers. 48 tackles, 14 for losses, 3 sacks on the year as well. But back to the story. So Chaminade, as the season's going on, there's that realization that, next game could be your last, right? It was true for that Kellenberg game where they ended up winning at the end. And, of course, it ended up being true when they went out to St. Anthony's. But the last couple of weeks, I think it was like the Friday night before the games, you had a team meeting, and the guys leading the charge were captains, right? It was Diegues. As there is an interception. No! Was that Case?
Milan Williams.
Milan. They took it away from you, Milan. We have no instant replay here in the Senior Bowl. We'll take a look, though, ourselves. Let's see. Did Milan get this one?
He'll tell me about it tomorrow in school if he did.
Well, for tomorrow at school, he says he has it. And I think he has a case. But yeah, so the seniors, the captains, led the meetings, and it was an emotional one where guys like, it was Diegues and Creo, they said, listen, our futures are in different sports, right? Diegues going to play baseball at Fordham, Creo going to play lacrosse at Richmond. And they said, but that's what we're really good at. But this is what we love. We love playing high school football with our guys, with our family, and we don't want it to end. We want, and we know it's going to end, but we want to end it on our terms.
Right.
And you love that message from guys who will go on and play other sports next year.
I'll tell you, I even did it with our guys when we played our championship game this year. And one of the things I told them right before practice, and I said, not many teams, guys, have an opportunity to go out and know it's their last high school football game. Not counting the Senior Bowl,
Sure.
obviously, right? But, it's like Xavier Fordham, right? That's always, or Mount Hayes. How great is that? Army-Navy, right?
Right.
Most of the time, the Army-Navy game is, if they don't go to a bowl game, it's their last game, and they know it, And think about it. There's only this year in our league, right? 6 teams had the opportunity to really say that, right? And you're right. I told our guys that, and they kind of look at you like. Then they kind of put it together and say, yeah, this is the last time this is my last practice today. This is the last time I'm going to put this uniform on to go to practice.
And for these guys here coming out for Long Island, you see Dietrich again, 64, and those helmets. Those are helmets again that they've worn every day, every week,
right,
for years. And you see the clock ticking on the bottom of your screen. That's what's left to wear those helmets, right? Not to get too dramatic here, but it is true.
Right, absolutely right. Absolutely right.
So Long Island maybe looking to punch one more in and put the finishing touches on their win here in the Senior Bowl. Woodall Trippett looks end zone, and that's incomplete. Again, trying to find the connection, one that he's used to as well, right?
No, that's Cole. That's St. Dominic's, right? Cole Cruz.
Oh, you're right. Cole Cruz.
The only St. Dominic's player out there.
I saw the white helmet.
Yeah.
But you're right. Cole Cruz out of Oyster Bay. St. Dom's, again, another one of those programs, they want to get better and they want to move up the ranks. And I think any team that wants to kind of do that, you hope that they do. There's DeCruz. He'll go the other way. Look out, DeCruz. Taken down. That was Tyler Cadenhead from the Mount. 2-year starter, was an all-league player a year ago. Good motor, gets off the ball quick, gets after the QB, as we just saw there. 45 tackles on the year for Cadenhead. Does a good job of handling his position, said his head coach, Mario Valentini. And guys like Cadenhead and Carter for Mount, what a legacy they've left as well, as guys who are laying that foundation, right? Those bricks of a rebuild. And, oh, man, here they come again. DeCruz wrapped up. Tabansi out of Moore. Big tackle for him. He'll go and play at Toledo on the next level. Tabansi's a beast.
Yeah, he's one of the he's one of the finalists in the division for the lineman of the year.
So I'm glad that you said it. I didn't want to say
finalist.
I didn't know what I was going to get. I know. But I didn't even know if that was public. Final 23 seconds here. One more bit of magic, maybe? Let's see. DeCruz flings it over the middle. Ooh, nearly a terrific catch by Jason Ziva. We'll see where Ziva goes next year, and something, again, to watch going forward. A guy who, JMU has an offer as a preferred walk-on, and, I love the message, too, that he brings when he talks about that. He said, listen, I'll earn my money.
Yeah.
Right? I'll come in and walk on, and I'll earn it. That's all. Has a chance as well. Maybe Cortland likes maybe a little package there with Eli Alvarez and Ziva. Those two guys are really tight as well. So maybe a couple of Cougars making their way up, and maybe they'll play in that Cortica game next year at Yankee Stadium as well. So final score, Long Island 38-21 over New York City, and you see the handshakes as well. A lot of love between these players. And, you mentioned, too, it's not the old days of, a guy from St. Francis Prep has no idea about a guy from Chaminade or St. Anthony's. I mean, these guys are all going to camps and social media. They know each other.
Right.
There is no strangers in the New York Catholic High School Football League.
Right. Absolutely right. There's definitely a brotherhood within the guys in our league, for sure.
So I don't know. Do you have any inside information here about the awards?
No, I've been sitting with you the whole time.
You have been.
Yeah. So
See, how does that feel not knowing who the award?
That's all right. That's good. That's good. Yeah, Mr. Kevin Ahern is my able-bodied assistant down there. He's a tremendous asset to our league. He's our treasurer, and he's our communications director. And without him, I don't know if the league could actually operate the way it does without Kevin. So a little shout out to him. He does an awesome job with our league.
So actually, we'll stick here and might as well put a bow on the season, and we'll show some of those award winners, right? We'll
Great.
I would think that we're going to hear it right over the PA. If not, we could check it out here from the.
We'll be able to see it, actually.
Yeah.
We'll be able to hear him.
All right, I think we're ready to go. Here for the awards presentation.
I told our guys today there's 4 awards, and they were really pumped about it.
All of their hard work and commitment to their programs. At this time, we'd like to recognize the offensive and defensive players of the game for both teams. First, for the city team, the defensive player of the game is number 32, Sean Keegan out of Monsignor Farrell.
So Sean Keegan from Monsignor Farrell, the defensive player of the game. Yeah, and Ligardere, listen, man, you return a kickoff for a score and make another tremendous catch as well, and you deserve it as well. So those two guys there, you see Rocco, right? Del Pior.
Here's the Long Island guys.
I think Malpin's got to maybe get something. Let's see. Love it. Bacon defense.
He came in my office today. I told him, he's the guy I told that there was 4 awards today. He said, I think I'm going to get one of them.
He was right. And I think when he said it, you're like, I believe you, big man.
And the offensive player of the game is number 32, Nikai Malpin.
And there you go.
Good call.
Nikai Malpin. I think Drake Curtin, if you had a special teams player, I think he could have got his mitts on that, but congratulations to Nikai Malpin as well. That'll do it here from Mitchell Athletic Complex. Again, we'll have that awards breakfast there on Sunday morning. We'll have that for you on the Varsity Media Sports Network. Some interesting choices or some interesting candidates, certainly, for some of those awards. It'll be fantastic. There's no doubt about it.
Look at this, Dylan. The whole league getting together for the last shout out here.
Love it. Hands in everywhere. I'm not sure what the channel will be. 1, 2, 3 team league. I don't know.
Rocco's right in the middle there.
He'll figure something out. He'll lead the charge. There's no doubt about it.
Surprised he doesn't have a CHSFL flag that he's waiting.
Yeah, he didn't run it out here like he did that day at the Lions Den. But great stuff here, Chris. Again, thanks so much for jumping on with us and sharing your decades worth of knowledge of this league. A lot of fun to have you here in the booth with us. And again, second straight year, we're happy to bring the folks this game as well.
Thanks, Dylan. You guys have been a tremendous partner for us, and hopefully we go forward next year and we're back at it again. But I'll see you during basketball season.
For sure, yeah. It'll be a little bit warmer there inside. But listen, as soon as you get that schedule, let me know. I got to start putting in the dates. I got to figure out some of those games. But that'll do it here from Mitchell Athletic Complex for our entire Varsity Media crew. Thanks again for joining us here during the high school football season. It is indeed basketball season coming up. We'll have a good one for you Sunday out off the Grand Concourse as Cardinal Hayes, the defending New York City Catholic champion, takes on St. Peter's. But until then, thanks for joining us here in the Varsity Media Sports Network, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Good night, everybody.